Hi everybody. Thanks for clicking on my first knitting video. I think knitting videos, I'm gathering, they're called podcasts. I've just started watching knitting YouTube videos myself. My name's Renee, and I started looking up knitting videos because I've recently started knitting. I'm known as the left-handed reader over on BookTube, by the way. And so I just started knitting a couple weeks ago. I have knitted once before. I took a class at like a Michael's, and then I've had some other people outside of a class teach me how to knit. I'm left-handed. I'm known as the left-handed reader in my BookTube channel. And I wasn't quite sure how I was knitting. And I live in the Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh PA, and I found a knit shop, a yarn shop called Dyed in the Wool, and the lovely owner Carol is teaching me how to knit, and I am sitting there. I don't know if this is common. It feels like it probably is in yarn shops where they might have knitting, not classes, but just groups. You just come and sit for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you have the instructor or the owner there to help you through problems, projects, things like that. So I've gone to a few of those. I'm picking the day and the time that works best for me. So I am only at the stage where I'm knitting like swatches and practicing patterns. And I've done one pattern. I'll talk about that in a second. And I just couldn't find channels that were specifically beginners. I have found some lovely knitting YouTube channels though. And I'll list the two that I'm mostly watching. I've tried not to like watch a whole bunch, but I like to have them on when I'm knitting. I'm assuming most of you do that too. And so I'm too excited. I'm too excited. So let me show you what I have done so far. I guess this is a finished object because it's a thing. It's a test pattern. Let me just look here. I bound it off. I was just shown how to do that. Yeah. And so as you can see, the top looks better than the bottom. I was more confused, and I can tell I was confused there too. And I was following, this is the first pattern I've ever followed, and it's called the double broken rib pattern. And she's using some patterns from, I guess, the famous A Treasury of Knitting Patterns by Barbara G. Walker. It's like, you know, one of the go-tos. I know this now because I looked it up. And my library has a copy of this, and they had a copy in the shop, and I took a look, but I had no idea that when I was knitting it was actually going to create a pattern. So that was cool. That was my first time just seeing a pattern appear. I had no idea what I was doing was going to create that. And let me tell you what the yarn is. I am using Berrocco Vintage. So it's this. I got it at the shop, and it's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 8% nylon. I got it because it was a little thicker than the thinner socks on the other side of the shop, and it feels good. It feels not like silky smooth, so that it would be slipping off of my needles everywhere. And what else do I want to say about this? Made in Peru. The colors are numbers, and it's 51176, and apparently it's fuchsia. I'm using knitting needles. Yes, I am. I'm using straight needles. And because I already had them. I owned these already. They're bamboo, and these were done on a US 9. And I started a second pattern. I've just been shown how to read the second pattern, and I have started on the second pattern, and I'm still using these straight needles, but the pattern I am starting is being done on a US 7. Let me read this. Yep, 4.5 millimeter. Apparently nobody's knitting on straight needles anymore. Please let me know if you're one of the few that may be watching this that knit on straight needles. Well, future acquisitions. I'll talk about that in future acquisitions. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited. Okay, the pattern that I have just started today is called the Basketweave. And of course, it's got more instructions, there are, 6 rows? Like 8 rows, and some of them are repeating, but it's all kinds of different combinations. And this is what I have so far. You really can't see the pattern emerging. Oh yeah, you can see it there. Yeah, it's cool. It's a basket weave. I love this. I love how the pattern emerges. So I don't have much yarn left, so this is where the acquisitions come in, but I will talk about that in a second. Let me get the all-important rubber band back on this so I don't lose stitches. I wanted to show you my bag. I got this at a yarn shop when I lived in the Harrisburg area, and a town near Harrisburg called Camp Hill used to have a yarn shop, and that was pretty cool. So here's the bag. Isn't it darling? I have a bigger one. I don't know why I have 2. This was a long time ago that I bought these bags, and it says Rock Solid Designs. Yeah, it looks like a nice sewing project if I ever wanted to make one. Now that I'm sewing a little more, I'd have to learn how to do a zipper. So, what did I want to show you? Oh, yes, yarn. So I'm just keeping, when I go to the shop, I'm just keeping everything in, a free tote bag because it's got a bottom to it. And I picked this up. Carol winds these so that they're coming out of the center. I want to ask a couple questions about that. I love having yarn come out of the center of the ball or the cake or whatever these are called. This is also, it's the same thing. It's the Berrocco vintage, and it's the same breakdown, acrylic wool nylon. And this is color 5134, and apparently it's called Sour Cherry, although it's very burgundy to me. The shop has a lovely ball winder, and so that's how it gets that way. And isn't it lovely? Are there ball winders? Is it popular if you own a ball winder? Is it popular to have one where it feeds out of the center? That's my question. Not that I'm going to buy one anytime soon, but I'm curious about the world of ball winders for some reason. So that's my I guess this is my WIP, my work in progress, the basket weave. Acquisition is the ball of yarn because I have this much yarn left, and just in case I wanted to keep practicing. Now I won't be able to attach the new color because I have no idea how to do that unless I happen to be in my knitting group at the time that I'm ready to do that, but I don't know. Yeah, so the way I'm doing the pattern is I just have it here. I have my notes. I have it like on a pad of paper so that it's, I'm not using a clipboard, so I guess it's the best thing other than a clipboard. And that's how I'm managing it. And then I'm using sticky notes to keep track of where I'm at. The sticky note method is what I'm using. There you have it. That's all I have to say. Plans on this channel. I think I will just make videos as I progress. That will probably not be weekly unless something happens that I want to show you. But let's just say every few weeks will be the cadence. Maybe every 2 weeks right now, and then maybe slower once I actually start to work on projects. I don't know what the normal cadence is, to tell you the truth. I haven't really looked at how often the couple people that I'm watching post videos, because I've only watched a few, so let me know. Okay, question about needles. If I wanted to, so what I've heard is that a lot of people are knitting with the, the connected needles, the ones with the cable in the center, the round needles, and with the points, and there are sets with interchangeable points, which sounds smart to me. So maybe that's how I'll go. I have a feeling I'm really gonna want to stick with the bamboo though. What are your thoughts on that? When I'm sitting in the circle with people, they're all using metal tips, except there's a couple people that have the bamboo tips. I'd love to have your recommendations or just your experience on that. Do I just buy them from Amazon? Where do I go? And then, Ravelry. I just created an account on Ravelry under Renee PGH. I might change that name to Renee Pittsburgh, but I don't know. It's Renee PGH for now. That's what I'll have listed below. So thank you for watching this. If you've clicked on this video from a beginner, I really appreciate you tuning in. I can't wait to start engaging, and most of all, I can't wait to start progressing. I just thought this, if there's anyone out there that's also a beginner, then, let's do this together. And I get the feeling that this community loves to engage with knitters of all skill levels. So I know that there will be at least, a couple of you that may watch that have been knitting for a while. That's what I hope anyway. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. As I go, I will, I'm sure, give you a little more information about me and stuff like that. But I just wanted to come on and give you some basic information about where I'm at, record my journey so far, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.